I got a bone to pick with you guys, and I think if you guys look at the like and dislike bars of some of your Sam Harris videos, I think members like me are right to point out you guys are kind of straw betting and defaming Sam Harris and Bill Maher.
Wait, the Sam Harris videos. Okay. What's the straw man?
Okay, I'm going to make this one point. I'm a progressive. I'm also an agnostic. So I think liberals are right to call out Christians on their homophobia. Would you agree with that?
You think, I'm sorry, say that again. You think who's right?
I think you and me are correct to call out fundamentalist Christians here in America who are homophobic and don't want gay marriage to go through. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and I don't think it's just Christians. I mean, it's fundamentalists. I think fundamentalist Jews have a problem with that, and I think fundamentalist Muslims have a problem with that.
Exactly. But this is the point Bill Maher and Sam Harris and I will make, is that when we liberals critique Christianity and call them out for their homophobia, okay?
Whoa. You just changed something. Do you know what you just changed between those two statements?
What's that?
The word fundamentalist. I know a lot of Christians. In fact, I would say the vast majority of people who support gay marriage are probably Christian. They're not Christian fundamentalists. So continue. But you just dropped that word fundamentalism when you said it the second time.
That might be down to semantics. Maybe I used the wrong word.
No. That's not semantics.
Exactly the point.
That's not semantics. That's not semantics at all. That's a fundamentally, no pun intended, different thing.
Well, here's the point I'm going to make, okay? Would you agree that the majority of people in America who are against gay marriage are Christian? The religious right.
Well, they're fundamental.
It's Mike Huckabee.
Yes, I suppose.
It's Mike Huckabee.
Yes, but you understand that you could also say, would you say that the majority? But wait a second. Well, here's the problem. Yes.
You know exactly where I'm going to go with this.
No, I don't.
You know exactly where I'm going with this.
No, I don't.
Because when liberals like me, when we critique Christianity for the homophobia, we're right to do that. But if we critique Islam on their homophobia, like Bill Maher and Sam Harris did, we're called Islamophobia bigots.
No. Because here's the thing. The statement that you made, the majority of homophobics in this country are Christian, is equivalent to the statement the majority of homophobics in this country are human. The fact is, it is not their Christianity that makes them homophobic, because we know there are more Christians who are not. It is their fundamentalism that makes them homophobic, because we know also that fundamentalist Muslims and fundamentalist Jews are also homophobic.
Right, but when liberals like me call out, I don't get called a Christian phobia for calling out Christians because they're against gay marriage. But you get called an Islamophobic if you call out Muslims when they're against gay marriage and women's rights.
I got news for you. Anytime that I say Christians are homophobic, to the extent that I have ever said that, I have certainly gotten called out by Christians who say, hey, that's not fair. And I say, oh, you're right. I mean fundamentalist Christians. In fact, I got a book sitting on that on that shelf right over there that I wrote 8 years ago. That is all about fundamentalist Christians, not Christians, fundamentalist Christians.
You remember the Chick-fil-A day?
Yeah.
How many was that? Was that just a small amount of fundamentalist Christians, or was that a majority of Christians in America going, Mike Huckabee's word, to Chick-fil-A because they don't want gay marriage?
It was fundamentalist Christians.
That was
wasn't
and
it? Wasn't
the majority? Did you see the line?
Yeah, I understand, but I got news for you. There's 300 million people in this country. I don't know. What, 200 million plus identify themselves as Christian? I would imagine maybe it's more, 250 million. The bottom line is they're not all fundamentalists. If 10 million people go to Chick-fil-A, that's a whole shitload of people. I mean, look, the bottom line is it's fundamentalism.
Yes, and I think what Bill Maher and Sam Harris and I would say is that, yes, not all Muslims are fundamentalists, but there's a shitload.
Are you saying the majority of Muslims are fundamentalists?
I think when Bill Maher and Sam Harris point out a poll that says 60% of Egyptians, which is 87 million people, when 60% of Egyptians say apostasy should be killed, that's 60%. That's over a majority, isn't it?
Wait, that Pew poll again also only asked Muslims who agree that Sharia should be law of the land. They didn't ask any, I'm Muslim. Like how there's Christians here who are just Christian, but they're not, fundamentalist Christians.
It was the polling sample was narrowed, and you start with essentially this percentage of fundamentalists believe.
And at the same time, in a country like Egypt or any other country in the Middle East where there are more fundamentalist Muslims, and you're just walking down the street or whatever, however they sampled this poll, and you're asked this question, and you're a Muslim, you're not going to answer in the way you think's not going to. Something's not going to happen.
But that still doesn't prove anything other than what's going on.
But also, this is
in Egypt.
Whole, can I just add too the point that nobody seems to get, that I have said in all of these videos, that people like, I guess that you're not picking up on, that I've said is, regardless of getting into all the minutia of these different polls and everything else and different lines from the Quran taken out of context, the point I'm making is that there is a direct policy consequence of those attitudes. Sam Harris is saying basically, and he's actually said pretty directly that everything else is pretty much an excuse. Foreign policy doesn't matter. Regional politics don't matter. Oil doesn't matter. History doesn't matter.
I hear you on that.
And then, so all that matters is this religion, which he does not have a full understanding of at all. And I'm including people who are really critical of Islam, but actually have training and understanding of these things, which he does not. And then what flows from that is Sam Harris supports torture, racial profiling, and the occupation. Bill Maher is also a supporter of the occupation. So when you're talking about this, again, if you're talking about Christians in America, they're also in a position of relative political power. You can't separate any of these conversations from the policy implications. And if it's
I agree that America interventionism over in the Middle East has caused a whole hell of a lot of horrible.
And all that I have ever said.
And I think Sam Harris has a piece of the puzzle, not the whole puzzle. I think you are correct to say that the other piece of the puzzle that fuels fundamentalism is our American intervention over in the Middle East.
But it's not.
I completely agree with you and CJ on that.
Saudi Arabia funds. I mean, like, there's a lot of complicated aspects to it, and all Sam Harris is saying is there is one version of Islam which is not true, that applies to a vastly inflated number, which he uses using very selective reading of polls, which, like that Egypt number that you
78% of British Muslims want the Danish cartoonist convicted.
I have not seen polls that definitively say that everywhere at all. And if you go to Eastern Europe and poll Muslims, you'll get completely different results. If you go to Malaysia, you go to India, you get totally different results. And even if he was right, which he isn't, what is the practical implication of that? For him, it's bomb and profile people. For me, it might be,
disagree with him on that. I
how do we support Malala practically? So there's no upshot to what he's saying. He's not right. Where he's right, he's obvious. And the implications and the actual policies he's advocating are disastrous. So how am I
agree. Torture is horrible. We shouldn't. Drone strikes are deplorable. If you look at, the sad thing is John Oliver.
He supports all those things.
I agree. And John Oliver, is sadly, he has to go to a Press TV, an Iranian state news organization, because Press TV is the only one accurately reporting on these horrible drone strikes. So we are in agreement that the upshot sucks, okay? But all I'm saying is I think all of the liberals who are also non-believers, all we're saying is, why can't Bill Maher and Sam Harris call a spade a spade?
Well, because they're
not.
not.
They're not, and because of what it leads to.
Because basically what they're saying is they're calling a fundamentalist spade just a spade. That's the problem.
And that's the direct consequences, those policies you say that you don't agree with. That's the problem. If he said, look, Wahhabism,
the argument
and Salafism is a problem. It's connected with Saudi foreign policy and our relationship to oil. Well, all of a sudden you have a point. All Muslims are fundamentalist fanatics and their book is evil and the motherlode of bad ideas. Well, I would definitely support drone strikes if you believe that. Why the hell not? Those people should be killed. That's the direct consequence. And the direct consequence that's very practical for both of them is the Palestinians have no legitimate claim on anything because they're subhuman mongrels who believe in this horrible religion, and therefore it doesn't matter. The occupation, human rights is all irrelevant because of some line from the Quran that sounds bad. That's the point.
I agree. I mean, look, I watched your great libertarian buddy, Stefan Molyneux. He actually had a great hour-long thing on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and completely showed how the Israelis are kind of racist towards the Palestinians. The whole Zionist movement. So
now I got to get a lot more pro-Israel after you tell me that.
Well, it's probably the one area where Stefan Molyneux is right, and it's probably not for all the right reasons.
But I'm saying, like, he's not right in the specifics at all, and then the way he makes the generalities lead exactly to the policies that you say you don't like.
All right, look, we got to go because we're way over time. But I appreciate the call.
We're just going to disagree.
Yeah,
we'll agree to disagree.
Indeed.
And check the likes, dislikes on this video.
Okay, I definitely will.
Well, the likes and dislikes of a YouTube video tell very little about those videos. I mean, you said
doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It's your fan base. It's your fan base flirting with their feed with a like-dislike.
Look at the videos I put up about Gamergate. You have people who either don't want to hear about it on this show,
but look, it may be. Let's just assume.
Run on Gamergate too.
All of the attractive Muslim women and oil sheiks that give me money like those videos.
Let's just assume. If I put a video up of something I say, and I get the most amount of dislikes, an amount of dislikes that would supersede the amount of even views I've ever gotten, I still am not going to change my opinion about it. And so it's largely irrelevant to me. About those dislikes. I mean, even without even going into, any of the sort of the granular aspects as to what that tells us, that's irrelevant to me. As far as I'm concerned, that they're all just fundamentalists, or they're not. I mean, they're humans. As far as they could all be, I could speak in general. They're all just humans. I mean, that's the thing is that when you drop that modifier, fundamentalism, from this argument, it's not just a question of semantics. It is a question of, I don't know, the difference between a person and just a human being or a specific person. I mean, it's a modifier that is incredibly relevant. But I got to go. I appreciate the call. We can do this in the future.
All right.
Bye-bye.